Primal Season 3, Episode 3, Feast of Flesh. Now, it feels like at this point, we need to stop calling Zombie Spear, and start calling him Calamity Zombie Spear, because it feels like he just cannot catch a break and constantly finds himself involved in some drama. And this episode was no different. In the beginning of the episode, we had a little bit of a slow moment with Zombie Spear kind of walking through the jungle, contemplating what's going on, and still piecing back those memories from when he was alive. And he runs into this insect that I think is cleverly introduced into the episode and into the season, because it kind of brings back memories to him of Fang, and the color of the insect also kind of looks like Fang. So at first, I'll be honest with you guys, because I've kind of been thinking that maybe this season takes place years and years into the future. So this insect to me at first could have been maybe a reincarnation of Fang that was attracted to Spear, just like Spear was attracted to it. Because we've seen throughout these last few episodes, Spear's definitely trying to find Fang. I mean, he's looking for his best friend, no doubt about it. So I kind of thought maybe that would be it. But I think by the end of the episode, we get the realization that it's not really like that. And especially and the after credit scene showed us a little bit about what's going to happen next week's episode. And it was a bit of a shocker. But before I get into that, I do want to dive a little deeper into Fang and Spear's relationship, because I think it's one of the best aspects of the show, and seeing Spear get those flashes to Fang shows how important Fang means to him, how she impacted his life, and also kind of affected who he is now. Because I think the point of the insect in this episode was to represent a creature that was innocent and in need of help, because we see throughout this episode that the insect is also constantly getting into trouble, whether it's getting eaten by some other creature or getting attacked by these other little monsters, which annoyed the hell out of me in this episode. Those little creatures that ended up coming out of nowhere, those flesh-eating monsters. But I think the insect is supposed to represent Spear's willingness and his kindness for others, to help others. And it doesn't matter if it's a small insect in need of help or his best friend Fang, who we're still waiting to see. Now, as I alluded to before, Spear for sure got into some drama in this episode when he met these disgusting little flesh-eating creatures. And they actually look pretty creepy, which just goes with the tone of the series in general. You know, these creepy monsters that are out to get Spear and every other innocent creature in this world. It's a very violent, and these creatures were no different. They were extremely violent. They were flesh eating. They were creepy and disgusting. And ultimately, they were very territorial, because when Spear falls into their little cave, they end up capturing him and eating off part of his hand, which when I saw that, I was like, can Spear catch a break, Genndy? Can we be chill on Spear? Not only is he now this rotting corpse, this walking husk, but now he's got his organs falling out of his body and he's missing a hand now. But that all being said, we do have to dive deeper into how this played a role, this little scene in the sequence of Spear fighting all these creatures in their own colony, and ultimately Spear ends up taking out an entire colony of these creatures. I mean, he committed genocide basically, but it was in the name of good, I guess you can say, because they were violent and they were trying to kill this innocent little insect that did them no harm. But you know, as this show has always shown, you don't have to cause another being harm in this world for it to want to harm you. And I think Spear fighting for that insect and just releasing that rage inside of him on these little creatures kind of brought back more memories of who he is. And I think ultimately at the end of this episode, he finally comes to the realization that I know who I am. I know what I'm looking for. I'm back, baby. He puts on the Fang necklace. He's got his spear back, his actual spear. After he decimates all these creatures, he goes out to the world to go find Fang, his best friend. And I wonder I missed any symbolism when it came to the insects, because once he goes back up to the actual upper ground, he sees more of the insects, and that's when I kind of realized that it wasn't like an analogy for like Fang being reincarnated, but rather I think Spear just looking at the innocence of this world and just having a good heart no matter what. And he's been through hell. I don't know any other character in any show that has been through more hell than Spear, but he still stands tall and still stands by his principles, and that's one of the most respectable things with this character. The action in this episode was, of course, top notch. The animation, the art style, the character designs, whether they're creepy and disgusting or not, they still look pretty cool and they still look well thought out, and they fit the vibe of what this episode was. And seeing Spear just go on this rampage, this anger, and just taking his spear and just jamming it in the head of these creatures, almost like he's playing whack-a-mole. It was obviously it was visually interesting and engaging to see, but also it was kind of, euphoric for Spear, and you felt that the release, the music, the lack of sound, and just seeing the motions happen also added to those feelings of release. And like I said, for me, one of the biggest moments was seeing Spear put on his little uniform, get his necklace, and get his spear back and go out into the world, because he's gonna find Fang and he's gonna find his family. Now that leads me to the after credit scene where we see a little promo for the next episode, and we see what looks to be like Fang and her children with Mira. Now, that kind of defeats my entire theory of this taking place years upon years into the future, because if they're still alive, then it can't take place that long after. I mean, it could take place years after, but not what I was thinking. What I was kind of thinking, like maybe even 30, 40 years, but we see them fighting off these other monsters, because this world is full of monsters trying to harm people, and it was very short, but it was sweet, and it also got me real hyped to see Mira again, and I'm very excited, extremely excited to see the meeting between Mira and Spear. Also, obviously, the meeting between Fang and Spear. But I think most of all, what I'm really interested in seeing, and it might break my heart a little bit, but I think that's the point. It's supposed to get you emotional, but the moment of Spear meeting his child and seeing her for the first time, and how does that even play out when she sees him? Will they even recognize, will Mira and Fang even recognize Spear at first? Or, which I hope they don't go in this direction. I hope they don't have Fang and Mira try to attack Spear and having this huge battle that ultimately ends up in death. Because you guys know how Genndy likes to do. He'll end it off with something like that. He'll have Spear fighting Fang and Mira to the death, and that being the ending of the series, because Genndy just likes to go that way, which we don't need it to go that way. I think all the suffering that Spear has had to go throughout this entire series, let alone these last couple episodes in this season, I think that's enough emotional, drainage from us, that the series does not have to end in a even a bittersweet way. I think we can have a sweet, kind ending. I mean, ultimately, it's going to be bittersweet anyway, because at the end of the day, Spear he's dead. This husk walking around, it's just that. It's just a zombie husk that's a corpse. It's not the real Spear, so it's going to be bittersweet when they meet up with each other, but maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll have another shaman moment, or maybe they do end up having to put Spear out of his misery, because I do think he's miserable. I mean, how can he not be, But if you like this video, if you want more, like and subscribe, and obviously leave in the comments telling me your theories on what's going to happen next. I'm very excited to have an open dialogue about this show. It's the last season, so I want to try to get every single opinion I possibly can to get us hyped for the ultimate finale. So if you enjoyed this episode, let me know. If you didn't, if you thought it was too slow, which I did think in the beginning was kind of slow, but I think it was meant to be that way. It's supposed to be plotting, and the fights always end up making up for whatever slow-paced beginning or middle that the episode may have. It always ends off with a bang, and it always gets you hyped for the next episode towards the end. So I'm really enjoying it. Take care, guys.